Ever really thought about what happens after you donate blood? I mean, that one little pint you give away goes on this absolutely incredible hidden journey. So today, we're going to follow that pint step by step, all the way from your arm to the patient whose life, quite literally, depends on it.
So, you've done your part. You've given the gift of life, maybe 30 minutes of your time. But for that blood, well, its adventure is really just kicking off. You ready to see where it goes? Let's do it.
Okay, so the whole process, it really breaks down into 5 big stages. It all starts with super strict donor screening. Then, that donation gets tested and prepped in the lab. After that, it's stored and distributed until it finally reaches its last, most important step, the transfusion. Let's start at the very beginning, where safety is absolutely everything.
Right, the gift of blood, the first line of safety. Before a single drop of blood is even collected, there's this whole system in place to protect everyone involved, both the donor and the patient, and it all starts with the donor themselves.
You might be surprised to hear that the very first interaction isn't with a needle. It's actually a conversation. It's called pre-donation counseling, and it's all about education. It gives potential donors all the info they need about any risk factors and the process, so they have the power to decide if they're a good candidate before they even sit down in the chair.
So who exactly is a good candidate? Well, there are some basic criteria that act as that first layer of screening. You've got to be in a certain age range, meet a minimum weight, and have healthy hemoglobin levels. But just as important are lifestyle factors, right? Like making sure you haven't engaged in any high-risk behaviors and, of course, that you're well-rested and hydrated.
And check this out. This whole system is designed with these safety off-ramps. Right after that initial counseling, look at the very first option a donor has, self-deferral. It's a completely confidential way to just opt out, no questions asked. It really puts the power in the donor's hands, making them the first and maybe most important guardian of the blood supply.
But what if a donor has second thoughts after they've already donated? Well, there's a final safety net for that too. It's called confidential unit exclusion, or CUE. It's a way for a donor to discreetly signal, maybe with a barcode or a phone call, that their unit should be taken out of the supply and discarded. It's a guarantee that only blood from fully confident donors ever moves forward.
All right, so our blood has been donated, and it's passed all the initial checks. Now, let's follow it into the lab. This is where the real magic happens, where one single donation gets scientifically transformed into multiple targeted lifelines. So, the first thing they do is pop the whole blood bag into a centrifuge. This machine spins at unbelievably high speeds, basically using physics to separate the blood into layers based on how dense they are. The heavier, red blood cells, they sink to the bottom, the lighter plasma rises to the top, and that leaves this thin little layer of platelets and white cells right in the middle. And this is how we get blood's power trio. First up, you've got the red blood cells. These are the heavy lifters that carry oxygen, and they're absolutely crucial for patients with anemia or who've lost a lot of blood. Then you have plasma, the liquid gold. It's packed with clotting factors for people with bleeding disorders, and finally, platelets, these tiny little cell fragments that are the key to stopping bleeds. And this is why a single donation is so incredibly powerful. One bag of whole blood goes in, and out come these separate, concentrated components. That means the red cells from one donation might go to a surgery patient, the plasma could go to a burn victim, and the platelets to a cancer patient. It's amazing. One donation, multiple lives saved.
Okay, now we're getting to what might be the most critical step of this entire journey. Before any of these components can be given to a patient, the lab has to be 100% certain it's a perfect match. This is where meticulous science stops a life-saving gift from becoming dangerous.
And the stakes? Well, they couldn't be higher. This quote really says it all. The biggest risk in a transfusion isn't some super rare disease, it's a simple clerical error, a mislabeled tube, a misread result. That's why this whole process is just packed with checks and double checks.
So, the ultimate safety check is a test called the cross-match. Think of it like trying a key in a lock one last time, just to be absolutely sure before you open the door. The lab techs will physically mix a tiny sample of the donor's red cells with the patient's plasma to see in real time what happens. So what are they looking for inside that test tube? It's actually pretty straightforward. They mix the donor's red cells with the patient's plasma. If the cells clump all together, that reaction is called agglutination. Then the blood is incompatible. It's a total no-go. But if the cells stay separate and flow freely, we have a match. It's a beautifully simple visual way to confirm it's safe.
And that cross-match test is just physically confirming the rules of ABO compatibility that we see here. A patient with type A blood can get A or O, a type B patient can get B or O. But look at type O patients. They can only get blood from other type O donors. And that's also why type O is called the universal red cell donor. Their cells can be safely given to any other blood type in an emergency.
So, the blood has been screened, it's been separated, and it has been perfectly matched. It's time for the final leg of the journey. This is it, the culmination of every single safety check and scientific process. This is the moment that donation officially becomes a transfusion. And the impact is just profound. Donated blood is used for things like treating newborns with severe jaundice, sometimes needing a full-on exchange transfusion. And in procedures that sound like science fiction, they're used for intrauterine transfusions, giving blood to a fetus still in the womb to treat anemia before it's even born. It's just unbelievable.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this simple fact. Your one gift becomes many gifts. That single pint you donate doesn't just help one person. It becomes a specific, life-saving therapy for several different people.
What a remarkable journey, right? A single, simple act of generosity is transformed by all this meticulous science into multiple lifelines. One pint, separated and matched, can save several lives. The journey starts with one person making a choice, and it ends with another person being given a second chance. The only question left really is, what's your role in the story?